No intro music as usual. So we're a little fucking far away from the MacBook. But anyways, we're back with a long overdue
BroCast. It's gonna get posted. Reaper Barbell.
What's going on, man?
Oh, fucking. First swear. Just living the dream. Still training people. Family man.
Yep.
Fucking I sneak some time for myself to work out.
That should be on your Instagram bio.
My Instagram.
Yeah, fucking train people, family man.
Family man. My Instagram bio that's run by my wife, and she posts stuff for me because she's like, I still don't have a phone that's worthy of actually doing anything.
But also, don't forget to put your current body weight, your age, and if you have a dog. Too. That seems to be pretty...
And very popular, yeah. So, nothing's changed much, man. It sounds like we're doing a lot of the same stuff.
Same shit, man. Same shit, different day. So I'm going to open up with a joke here. Oh, fuck, I forgot it.
This is not good.
No, I can't even remember. Anyways, we'll move on to the next thing here. We got to keep this brief here. Fuck the joke, I'll remember it later. Movies. I got to know, what have you been watching, man?
Last bunch of movies that I've seen.
I'm so excited. This is the most entertaining part of it. What shit movies have you been watching?
I've been watching a lot of Netflix stuff, but those are series. So the last movie, a full-length movie, I went to the movies, I saw Coco. It was Coco is like a Disney Pixar.
Okay, yeah.
I saw it with Daniela.
With Daniela, I was going to say, yeah.
My family. Other than that, let's see. The last movie, you'd have to jog my memory. I freaking haven't seen... Don't watch a lot of series, man.
You watched Peaky
Blinders, man.
Did you finish it?
You betcha.
I fucking love that show.
That show was unbelievable, man. Awesome.
But I did have to watch it with the subtitles because I couldn't understand.
So I do too.
Yeah,
I do it with everything now because usually I'm trying to sneak and...
But see, when I watched it too, it's like a work week because there's 4 seasons.
Yep.
Probably 10 to 12 episodes, and it always seemed like all the Scots, that's when I really needed the fucking, those are my favorite guys. What's his name? The guy that played Dr. Grant in Jurassic Park. He was in the first 2 seasons. The sheriff, the guy that came in, he started him, and then his chick.
Sam Neill.
Yeah, Sam Neill. That's it. But yeah, good fucking series. Did you watch the Cloverfield Experiment? Or the Cloverfield Paradox?
No, it's good.
Yeah. Have you ever watched?
Cloverfield is an alien movie, right?
Yeah, it's
I saw the movie.
There's 3 of them. There's Cloverfield, and then there's 10 Cloverfield Lane with John Goodman. Yeah.
That's how you know what movie's good.
And then that one just came out. I just watched that the other day. It's pretty good. You won't like it though. Because it's not it's not a coming of age.
I'm gonna say this, and if I had a week off from my familiar duties, I would go see everything, and I would just say, you know what, Greg, tell me what it is.
Let's do it, man.
I'm gonna watch it. John Wick 3. Why not? Let's see this. I'll see these movies.
We'll just load up on Cineplex passes and just stay there.
I just I don't see the point in spending money to go to if there's movies I still haven't seen the Star Wars. I want to see them. I want to see them all consecutively because I'm still.
It's good. I went and saw that on my birthday by myself.
The dream, man.
The dream.
I would trade Places View as second.
I fucking loved it.
I just to be able to go and watch a movie by myself.
It's just done, man. It was awesome.
Oh, God.
Snuck a couple Buddy Burgers in there, a couple Red Bulls. It was good. So we'll get right on to the questions now that the movie's done here. So we're gonna talk about. Well, I wanted to. This is more like me asking you shit. Mm-hmm. But this is one of the things. So we've talked about the keto diet before, and I had a question for you because you seem to be pretty well versed in it. I know a little bit about it, but now this is more of the question here. So if I were to set my protein grams at 2 times my body weight, so say for me right now, that'd be around 460 grams of protein, and I would take half that number, or my body weight, in grams of fat, so 230 grams of fat, would that still be a ketogenic diet?
Percentage-wise.
Okay. Percentage of the macronutrients.
My you can call it whatever you want, but percentage-wise, for it to be a keto diet, I mean, that fat percentage of your total calories is going to have to be 75% to like, depending on how strict, or 85% of those calories are going to come from fat.
Fat, okay.
So if we did that calculation, 240 times...
So it's inverse, basically.
240 times 9.
Yeah.
You're almost looking at... 240 times 9 is like 2250.
Yep.
Like 22...
Well, hold on. I'll bust out the calculator here so we're not just...
So you'd be looking at...
230 times 9, so that's 2,070.
Okay, so you'd be looking at 2,000. So like in that count, and if you were to look at double that in, 460.
And that's 1,800 in protein. 1,800.
So right there, you're looking at, it's almost a 50-50 split right there, right? Calorie-wise. So you would technically not be in a ketogenic diet.
But you're like, you mean, like, so I wouldn't
just
be...
Just the breakdown.
But like, but the ketogenic, like I wouldn't be a typical ketogenic diet, but does that mean like you would not get into ketosis?
Again, I think... there's some experts that say like there's nothing magical about this. I mean, the idea of you operating on ketones. I mean, if your blood, they say that the odd like outlier can handle more protein, because the protein on almost most standard ketogenic calculators is always like low. It's low compared to any typical bodybuilding, like any meathead type.
Like almost less than 1 gram per pound of body weight.
And at the top end would be 1.
Yeah.
Per lean pound, even. That's what that'd be a better calculation, because I very rarely see a 300 pound or 250 pound guy like eating. Like I know, reading about Mark Bell's experience with keto.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't 1 gram per pound. It was like more, might have been 200 grams of protein for somebody that size.
So now, like, leading this, so I know it's not typical. Like, that's how I've done it in the past, right? And like now, in like my experience doing that is like because I was training a lot. So now, when you have like a lot of fat, it takes longer to digest, so it doesn't load as quick. But like that's what I was saying. But protein would load faster, so then you would have more energy to lift. Does that not make sense? Like I think that's basically that's what I'm saying. Like I think that's why it worked pretty well for me, because I would like lift almost every day.
With that amount of protein, though, you would be making, like, through gluconeogenesis, you'd be operating on glucose, not ketones, because the protein would be converted over. Like it's easier for it to do that in the presence of that amount of protein. Yeah, it'll still prefer glucose. It will take you'll make glucose out of that extra protein, which is superfluous by lots. You don't need that much before you would. So ketosis would never be reached. You would never have to.
So
that amount of protein. That's why they always say, like, big mistake why people don't get into ketosis. Protein. To cut it back, it has to be way lower than you think. Yeah. And then you'll never get into ketosis. So like, but the thing is with that breakdown, if you're still going to be, your blood sugar will definitely be lower than if you had that same amount in like
with carbohydrate.
Because if you're telling me that's all, and you're going to keep your carbs at what?
Like nothing, less than nothing,
right? Yeah. So you're operating.
Like less than 50 grams, just by ancillary, like a protein powder and shit like that, like in like vegetables and stuff.
Because at that point, I think there'd be no different. Because you're not in ketosis, it'd be no different for you to split that 460 grams of protein into 230 of protein, 230 carbs. Calorie-wise, it'd be the same.
They'd be the same.
And you'd still be, if you want to operate a little bit more efficiently, then carbs will still be the preferred fuel source, right? Yeah. So, like, if you give it some carbs at that point, like I think the ketogenic diet, it's very in fad, but generally, like, it is because as a weight loss tool. True. To keep yourself lean, to minimize, to keep insulin at, like, down. So
basically, to like recap everything that you said, if you were to go that route, if your training volume's high, like, so that's what I say, like, so, like, I think that's one of the things, like, I would take into consideration. So I could tell you is that when like, so in a typical ketogenic diet, if you were to go, say, like the typical split, like 70-30 or 80-20 fat to protein, would you still be able to train as hard and have that strength building, like throughout your workouts? And would it be better for fat loss? That's been proven for sure. But would it be just as good as to gain strength? As opposed to like what this would suggest, like I said, because you're already eating enough protein where it does go into, like you said, it's converted into glucose where you can lift more and then like lift longer. So maybe not the best for fat loss, but like if you're maintaining strength or gaining strength, but you're basically saying too that there's no different, there's no different than just like splitting that in half, going to 200 grams of protein and getting the rest from carbohydrate.
Yeah, because I don't think like it's all anecdotal, but like based on other people and what I've read and what I've heard in podcasts, the areas that tend to be not really to be negatively affected by like a ketogenic diet are the aerobic sports that are very severely aerobic. Yeah. So like the long distance, slow and steady, they're really jumping on the keto bandwagon because it's just a very efficient fuel source. Yeah. And then the pure strength side, it's okay. It's that in between that there's questions about. So like that, if you're going to be a CrossFitter, I've heard like nutritionists geared towards it. Yeah. That's why they switch more to the like just they're into like CrossFit's a lot into macros. Yeah, I'm counting. So like nutritionists that I've listened to, Jason Phillips, who actually he does all his work with high level CrossFitters. Yeah, you know that's one area. You know he big fan of the ketogenic diet, but not for his athletes. Not for his guys. Yeah, because they're on a different. It's a different system. Breed. Like the sport dictates different. Like they're anaerobic. And they're aerobic, like they need endurance, right? And they need to be like fast and explosive. Yeah, and they're tapping a lot more into the anaerobic lactic system. So they're creating a lot of that. Whereas these pure strength athletes, you're never getting to the point where it's like for pure strength, like fatigue is not one of those things that is tested in your sport. Like powerlifting, for instance, you know, like at no point, I guess, you know, when you're training, like max reps and stuff like that, that's the one time that you're gonna get there. But generally, you're working in the 3s and the 5s and the 1s. Yep. You're not tapping into it. Can we say 5-3-1? 5-3-1. You get money for that. Yeah. One of those like $5. 5-3-1. Absolutely. Like so, there's no point. Like you don't need to have these. And you like we've talked about this before. I don't know if on a BroCast, but you will replenish glycogen even in a ketogenic state. Okay. Slower, and it's just a slower process, but it happens anyways. So is it as like we're told that this anabolic window helps us recover right for our next workout because we're getting the carbs in right away and we replenish glycogen. But like they've done studies and glycogen is never like they've done studies with like professional bodybuilders and like the 1% of the 1%, and then training at these high intensity where the whole goal of the study is to deplete glycogen to nothing. They weren't able to do it. Couldn't do it. So the average person that goes in there and can go watch a bit of TV, not talks, a fucking chance. Yeah, checks out the honey next door. Yeah, they're not going to deplete glycogen even close. So I mean, it really isn't. And I mean that's where the idea of like that cyclical or targeted ketogenic diet. If you feel like a lot of it is you feel stronger if you have something in you. You put some carbs like Vitargo, whatever, around your workout, like before, intra, and then go back to a ketogenic diet if you want. But I mean, like with the macros that you gave me there, you're just eating a really high-fat diet and a high-protein diet, and I guess it wouldn't be typically called, that wouldn't be a ketogenic diet. It wouldn't be a ketogenic, by definition. Yeah, because you have 2,000 calories in protein alone. So, I mean, that's enough for most people, that's all their calories for the day. True. So, like, it's plenty for them to make glucose out of that, and I mean, extra would go to fat. No, that makes sense. That's what I say. Like I was always curious about that because like I know that like by definition that's not a typical ketogenic diet, but just like based on like how protein is like metabolized, I figured that there's never, and because of like gluconeogenesis, that you never get into ketosis. However, like I'm saying, like on a ketogenic diet, I know that like when my fats have been like really high, like inverse basically, where I've eat low protein and higher fat, is that I never felt strong. I never felt like, but this way I do, but it's like, I know what you're saying. You're really shooting yourself in the foot in terms of fat loss maximum, if that's completely the goal. Well, if that was like a fat loss, or if that's just a maintenance, like just keeping your strength up in like off season, or you're not too worried about, if that works for you, if we can have at her. But I mean, for fat loss, I would say that you're probably, you're not, I would say that you're probably eating a little too much protein. If you're using more, like that much fat, it's kind of, it's a drain on the digestive system. It digests slower. Yeah. More efficient fuel source because you're using glucose, but it's a you're turning that protein into glucose.
True.
So like, I mean, you'd be better off giving it straight carbs. It would be more efficient, be faster, and calorie wise, it'd be the same. It would be the exact same. And I mean, if we always look at the ketogenic diet as is getting into ketosis, the reason why that's the hardest part for people, the flu, is because it's a backup plan. It's a backup system. I guess for evolution purposes, it's just that last system in the absence of food. And like, I guess people argue that, you know, back in the hunter-gatherer days, like it was a valid energy source because you never knew when you were going to get food. But it doesn't apply here. That's why people have to like deprive themselves for a long time before they get there.
It's tough for sure. Now, I guess like the other thing that I wanted to touch on, just last question on that. Now, when you look at that, like, so to the energy demand of like the thermic effect of food in protein is that to convert it is also expensive. Like, but that's, and that, like, there's obviously no way to measure that, where I say, like, some people say, like, it's actually, you know, a gram of protein is actually 3 calories because 1 calorie is almost expended. So, you know, you could take off 450 right there almost, right? From the cost of actually digesting it and assimilating it and everything like that. And then your body would run hotter, and then you would expend more calories, right? You just going for the coffee? There should be some there. I don't know if it's hot or not, but that's what I say too. Like, I think that's why, like, it's, you know, I think one of the things that I read about that is like, it does involve some fucking metabolic trickery that I don't understand, you know? But that's the one thing, that question that I wanted to ask you, like, you know, is because I know that you're well versed in that shit. Is that, would that still be considered a ketogenic diet? And then, like, the answer is no.
Not ketogenic, but I mean, the thermic effect, like, it is true that protein, to turn it into fat, is it's not an easy process.
No.
So like, unless it's a huge, you
like
know,
dump,
like if I were to eat that much, for instance, in protein for myself, my body size, now I'd have no problem converting that into fat because it's more than
what you need,
right?
Yeah.
But it is for most people, as long as it's not ridiculous, that's why they say side on the don't be conservative with your protein, especially in like on a fat loss diet, because it's not as likely, it's not easy to convert that to fat. It's not an efficient process, so it's not, you know, like, it's a lot easier for it to convert fat and carbs
to fat.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So like, I mean, it's for most people, eating higher protein is like, that's what I tell 100% of my clients. Like, unless they're going on a ketogenic diet, which I say, if you don't have to go on it to lose weight, don't do it.
No.
Because it really is like, it
limiting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think for some people it works well in if they really have problems with insulin. Like, they're just not, like, they've always been, you know, they eat carbs and they can't stop, and they really, like, that person who's always been heavy, they tend to have those. The diabetics, like, it really is it's almost like a miraculous diet for these people. But for the average athlete who's got pretty good insulin sensitivity, they train hard, which also improves their insulin sensitivity. Do they have to go on it? I don't know. No. I think some people just prefer
it. Yeah, it just says, like, it's easier lifestyle, and
I find it controls your cravings. When you're in it, you don't even,
a lot of benefits.
You don't crave anymore.
No.
And I mean, I'd have a hard time with that much protein. I would probably still crave. Like,
That's interesting. The other thing is to close that off. Have you read that book, Keto Built?
No.
It's by Josh Bryant. It's a new one. Yeah, I'll send it to you. But I read that, and it was just, that's what, like, that's one of the questions that I had, where, like, because it's very simple. It's like a fucking chocolate coffee, man. I don't know.
Is it like,
it's got like cinnamon and shit in it. It's good for you. It's good. Drink it up.
Calories, man.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm out my window here, man. What are you doing to me?
Just spit it there.
What the fuck is it?
Yeah. What have you done? But yeah, I'll send that book to you. It's a pretty good read. On that topic, moving on, we got a little bit more time here. What have you read lately? Like, training wise, you know, nutrition wise, what's going on with you, like, education wise, right?
You know what? In terms of books, I was been going to chapters on breaks a lot of the time. Just going to and reading the Power of Moments by Chip and Dan Heath. It's a good book. Like, it's again, it's just, you know, how to.
That's like those guys are like more into business, right?
Business, but also kind of human behavior, like how to. But this one really applies to business. This idea of basically, I stopped reading it because I got the gist of it. It's based around this. What do you call it? Anagram, epic. So you basically create moments of elevation.
Yeah.
Moments that create pride. Moments that create insight, and moments that create connectivity with people. And you create these moments in business, in in relationships, and this is what you remember. They use the example of why do companies, when you it's your birthday, you might have like a cake, and very, very they see these as missed opportunities where if a company did more than that, like on your birthday they did more than just let's have cake today,
shout you out kind of thing, for sure.
And it's funny because I mean somebody at work is he's reading it as well, and I mean I really do understand that it really does, if you can do a little bit more for people and create these moments, they're a lot more memorable, and in business it might keep a customer a lot longer compared to these people that just offer good service but they don't do anything more. It's like,
for sure,
do they offer good service? Yeah, the hotel's good, but that hotel that does a little bit more.
Yeah. Like,
they found out, my favorite this, and they stocked my fridge with that.
True.
Something that little. It's like, you'll remember that.
And you'll talk about it. Yeah, for sure.
But that's that. And then I'm reading this other one by Daniel Pink right now. And it basically talks about the power of when. So it talks about, there's that book by
These
Simon
are some
Sinek,
powerful books that you're reading.
Well,
the power of moments.
This one, it's not, I don't think it's called the power of them, but it's just the talks about, how to apply this idea of timing is everything. Like in the first couple chapters, they're about just, for us, chronobiology. And I thought about you instantly. We'll make this short, but it's very, it talks about how for most people, if you study like happiness, productivity, sharpness, attention, they basically are most all of that happiest from the moment they wake up for about 4 hours, 3-4 hours. And then there's a tail off. And generally across cultures, across businesses, there's negative affect, they feel shitty, they're less productive in the early afternoon. And then it picks up in the early evening again. But basically the morning and the evening are the high productivity times. And then they use examples as, in schools, they take a group and they test them morning, afternoon, and it didn't matter what the group was, didn't matter what the subject was, the afternoon group always did poorer, and that's with the same people.
Really?
Then in the morning, and then the anomaly to that, the outliers were the owls. And I thought of you, the people but they're most productive at night, so they flip it. Their most productive time is at night, and that early morning that'll be their afternoon, and it kind of flips things. But then it talks about this isn't. If it's an analytical thing, you want to be doing these things around your sharpest time. So if you can get up, and for the average person, the morning time is when you should be doing the work that requires the most analysis. But creativity is fostered by not being so analytical and being a little tired. So you do that when you would have that lull. So the afternoon for the average person.
True.
And they talk about, and I mean, really, they talk about the applications to schooling, like why kids should be. They should be doing all the courses that require that analysis in the morning for everybody, and then
playing in the afternoon kind of thing.
And then you offer a break. And then what I found interesting drinking coffee is this idea of the perfect nap. It's been studied, and it's the ideal way to do it is like the idea of a power nap. If you can do it, I can't because I couldn't do it honestly because if I told Robin I took a nap this afternoon, God knows I have an hour off. I took a nap. She'd be like, "Well, that must be nice."
It must be fucking nice, bud.
But it's called a nappuccino. So the ideal way to do it is because caffeine takes 25 to 30 minutes to take effect. You take your caffeine, you nap, and as it takes effect, you'll wake up. And they said the ultimate amount of time is 25 minutes.
And you're fucking balling.
And it gives you a lot more interest. And you want to do that right when you're starting to, that midday that I was talking about where you're shit.
Really?
Yeah, and they're saying, but this applies even to if you're going to see a doctor and they're saying, I'm going to schedule your surgery that afternoon, don't. If you can help it, I want it in the morning. First thing, because they make mistakes. They've showed it.
Holy shit, really?
They use the example of hand washing, which in this, I'll be quoting you wrong, but about $50 billion it cost people because of this idea that they attached a tracker on these hand washers in hospitals, and they showed that in the afternoon it was like something like 20% less nurses would not, even though it's their job and they're mandated.
Yep.
In the afternoon they would not. And
just by human
and then
error.
when they do the calculation based on what that costs them in terms of infections, it's like $50 billion in the States. Like, you know, like in just... So, like, even you don't want to go for colonoscopy.
No. Ever.
But
yeah.
Same, you know, they're saying that these ass men would catch polyps. They would catch polyps at a greater rate in the morning.
Yeah.
The same patients than in the afternoon. And they test it with the same people. So, like, they're likely to miss something because they're not immune to
They're in the lull, right? Yeah, for sure.
So I'm not always done to it, but I'm doing it on the cheap. I go there, I read it, and then I just find my place, and I know where I put the book.
Do you fucking dog-ear it? You dog-ear it?
I put it in a different spot.
Oh, okay.
And then I get to see what kind of... I guess Chapter's a little lazy in reviewing the books, but I mean, very interesting because, you know, we always... Like that Simon Sinek who... Like,
well, maybe the kid that's got to fucking put the books back, and he does it in the afternoon. That's when he's
scheduled
to.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
This is exactly right.
They got to get on that shit in the morning, man.
And I mean, you got to be... But if you know the kind of person you are, you should set yourself up. And I've tried. Like, I mean, the whole nap thing is a dream. It's not going to happen. Not in the winter. I can't sleep in my car. And there's nowhere to sleep at the gym. Like, really, like... But, I mean, to actually get up and, like, you know, I've got this precision nutrition course I'm doing... Get up, do it when in the morning hours when I have time, rather than go for a mall walk.
Yeah.
Which is also they applied it to exercise, and they said, you know, the morning time is the ideal time to be doing a lot of your cardiovascular stuff, that type of thing, and which is what I've always kind of
true.
And then, you know, they said the ideal time, at least from a chronobiological time, to work out is in the afternoon. It's actually the lull time is not a bad time to train.
No.
Even though, you know, because it's not a super analytical time.
No.
Physically, your body is not, if you just get used to it and you have that caffeine jolt right at the right time, it isn't a bad time to train. So
that's pretty interesting. Because, like, I remember reading, I was talking about, like, it was called, like, The Perfect Day by Craig Ballantyne. And, like, the synopsis was basically, like, in the morning, it would say, like, you know, get all your shit done in the morning that, like, you know, is going to... progress you forward in terms of like your self-development or your business or whatever it is that you want to improve, put that at the forefront, because like the chaos of the afternoon is going to come. So it talks about like shit, like simple shit, like, you know, don't answer emails in the morning, whatever, like do your creativity shit in the morning, because like you don't know what's going to come down the pipeline in the afternoon, because that's when people have been up for a while, you know, things have developed, and then things, you know, come to you, and then you have to deal with it. And then you kind of, if your job is to like, you know, put out fires or handle all this business, and then you go and do that, but you didn't get anything that you wanted to do done, or you fucked around or something like that, then when it's time to like shut down your day, you can't make that up, because like you said, is that you're not inspired anymore. You're not motivated. You're almost like, fuck, my day's done, and now I got to go back and do that same shit tomorrow, and it kind of would just pile on and pile on. So that's pretty cool that it's called what?
Standing the Pink, it's whatever when. It's like
whatever.
I want to say it's like the gist of it is the like, you know, the power of when.
So you're going into this fucking bookstore like 3 times a week, picking up this book that you're not buying, and you can't tell me the title of it.
$37.
You don't know the goddamn title.
The Power of Moments is for sure. I want to say the power, but I just looked and I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what the return policy is there. Like, I could buy this book and return it. I don't know why I don't do that, because I could finish it in a day and a half. I don't know. I know that, you know, if I bring it into the urinal, I'm probably screwed.
Yeah.
Like, you know, touches for
touches the good, man.
You know, but I mean, I think it's just, you know, it's their policies, man. I can sit there and read, and they'll even come talk to me. Good book. And
great book. Yeah,
you should read this. Free.
Check it out, man.
Like, I mean, no, but I mean, like, for instance, like, you're writing. When do you write?
I write in the morning. Yeah.
Write in the morning. See?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's and the morning for you would be like your lull time. But
True,
it's the time to do your creative stuff.
It's time to do this stuff, like when and then like that was the next thing, like I wanted to ask you if you've been doing like any writing. That's not like have you fucking been doing any writing, but it's just like
I have, and you know what? They end up as these long Word files on my desktop, because I mean to do them and put them on like
just put them out there kind of thing.
I'll put them on our gym's kind of just, talking, because generally it's talking about motivation, and I find myself like it's just long, and there's push at work kind of to play, like videos will always be looked at more than like reading these articles or like, written stuff. And I think that's all before you, because everyone read your stuff because it was good, and it wasn't like, for me, it's good stuff, but it'll often, I hate to say it, but it's going to point out like, these flaws in almost everybody. And that's what I find interesting, because it's like, and a lot of it seems self-serving, like me telling somebody that people are way more polite than they are dedicated. So if they set up an appointment with a trainer, they're 100% less likely to be rude and not show up to that appointment. And even us with I don't charge people if they fucking have to cancel.
Shit happens.
But, them setting themselves and setting themselves up, I'm going to train at 4 o'clock. Why? Because that's my dedication. I'm going to go there. That'll waver. They'll that whole willpower, it expires. But, setting up an appointment, these type of, insights and kind of, people don't want to read about like how they're sloths and how they're, they're setting themselves up to fail, right?
I know what you're saying, and
I'm not doing this to create business, but although a lot of it does talk about, the benefit of using somebody, and using, and I'm saying more than anything, get a trainer that doesn't know shit. But if you show up for the appointment, you're going to show up to the gym, which for most people, that is the biggest thing, to get in the door. So who cares who it is? Like that's
the one thing is that like I've found, like even when you take that and you relate it to like writing, is that like I try to write every day, like not like, but write, just whether it's like journaling or some shit like that, or if, something pops in my head, I write it down, I'll, unpack it later kind of thing. But there's times when you don't feel like writing. And like I said, is that like, I make that appointment in the morning to write. And by like reading other writers and like, reading these books about like motivation and actually like tasking yourself and like being held accountable, it's something where they say like, you know what, like the secret is really just writing 200 shitty words. Like, so it's just like you could sit there and I'm at the computer and you could even be like, I don't even fucking feel like writing anything right here, but I got all this shit going on and stuff, and you're just like, dumping or whatever, but then you're doing it. You're in the act of actually taking action and writing. And because of that, something might pop in your head. I'm here at the computer. I'm in the activity. I'm in here. I'm in the moment, and I start doing it, right? And that's exactly what you just like touched on, where you're saying, fuck, like if this guy's paying this guy to meet me at the gym and I don't want to do it, but I'm on the hook for X amount of dollars, and I said I was going to do this, and now I'm in the gym and I don't feel like doing it. Well, fuck, you're in the gym. You're not at your house, like, or you're not like, fucking texting a sorry I can't make it kind of message or whatever. So yeah, you're absolutely right, man.
Well, you gotta make that appointment, and I see it, like our gym hasn't been as busy as like a Good Life, and I mean you go to Good Life, where do you find people? They're just on the machines. They're just put on the treadmill, and I'm sure it's starting to die down from that rush. But these people they've signed up for the year, because that's what Good Life operates. So these people have basically made a donation to a company, and it might be a 2-year donation because they'll forget to cancel it. Mm-hmm. Rather than, our gym hasn't been that busy, and I think a lot of it too is because we have that type of gym that has, you walk in and if you don't know what you're doing, it's like, okay, I don't know how to do anything here.
No.
So even more so, like why you would want to get a trainer at the beginning, to show you kind of how to do things.
The other thing too is, I'm just saying, and I'm thinking out loud here, is that you throw down that post and you're talking about the appointment, you're at the forefront. People are seeing you as that person that will, this is the person that I should make that appointment with. This is the person that
I think I have to be more like what you're saying, is try to write every day, and just because it's always things that I notice, and it's like
you're gonna write more fucking like I like everything.
It's ranting.
Like, but that's like, I think that too, is that like there's enough fucking people complaining out there. Like there is, like you don't want to be associated with that camp. But I'm talking about like, if you like writing, you enjoy it, and it's the only way you're gonna get better at it. But like I said, it's just like you can just carve away at some shit, and then that's kind of what I do. Like I have like the same thing, like a running fucking document of just like, just shit. And then when something starts to like, become of that, and you polish it off, and then you say, yeah, I can go somewhere with this kind of thing. And then you know what, maybe this could help somebody. Maybe this is really something that like I can hang my hat on. Like I believe in this, and I think there's like 200 people on like Reaper Barbell or whatever, like 200 or less or something like that. And it's just like cool. Like if they like it, cool. But like also at the same time, like it's incredibly self-serving. I look at everything in terms of not self-serving in terms of like I'm trying to get people's money, but I'm just saying fuck, I this is some shit that I think, and maybe other people will think the same or whatever. Well,
I think like based on what we were talking about earlier, I go to the bookstore and I'm reading all these books, and when I look at this stuff, I often will turn and how does this apply to training or people like struggling with like nutrition, whatever. Yeah. And when I see that and I think, well, this is how I think it applies, and like I don't know if they're reading these books. True. So I think like if I can just share that and kind of say like this can help you a lot. And I mean just little things like I've noticed, like we don't have the numbers. I was floating around this idea like what if you charged a membership that was a base rate for a year was $350. And then for an extra $50, this is your premium accountability membership. You're paying $50 extra. Anytime that there's a lapse, we have a check-in system now. Now there's a lapse. Anytime there's a lapse in your attendance, you're not going to. There'll be reminders. We'll check in on you. We'll check in on you up to a certain point. Then after that point, you agree that after a certain amount of time of elapses, your membership expires. Your membership is done. And I mean, you're paying extra to because everyone goes in with the intention, I'm going to stick with this. Yeah. But like this is going to, because people don't want to part with their money, but people do it all the time. They join the gym and they stop using it. They don't even give it a second thought. But what if Good Life calls you and says, you haven't used it for 2 months? What's up? It's canceled. All of a sudden, you're up in arms. Like, but I paid a year for that. You can't do that. It's like, well, let's be honest. You haven't used it in 2 months. You're not going to use it. Yeah. But what if you said, you know what? We trust that you're going to try to use it, but this is going to motivate. You're going to come. True. Because you're going to, let's cancel this. It's canceled because you haven't used it for 2 months. Yeah. This is what you signed up for. So, but chances are, you are dedicated. This is something that matters to you. Those reminders and kind of like check-ins will make you come back so that it never happens. But like people need these nudges. They need these nudges, absolutely. And they do not. I mean, I thought about even telling them because telling the bosses this is an idea that floats around because but do you sign off on this? Like this is ahead of time because when you're motivated, you're like, I want to stick with this. Well, this guarantee it. True. You are paying extra. And you're paying extra for the possibility that we cancel your membership after 3 months because you don't use it. Because you don't use it, you don't come in. But we're going to work to get you there. And that's whether you get a trainer or not. We're going to get you to come in. Well, it's not any different than what you said of that. Like, I imagine you got that idea from the book that you're talking about where it creates that moment where you say, you care. Yeah, exactly. You care, and it's just like I said, you don't know. Like, it's a very the human element where it's saying you're calling in, you're like, what's going on, man? Like you're not fucking coming to the gym, go fuck yourself. Like it's just saying what's going on? How can you help you? How can we help you? Like what can we offer you? You know what I mean? Or come in with a check-in, book a session or some shit like that. And it could get them, back on the horse kind of thing. Well, I think it's because but that's what I say is that is very unheard of in gyms. Because that's what I say. Good Life takes your money. Okay, fuck, you're good for the year. Yeah, but imagine most people are donating their money at Good Life, and if they canceled it, well, the best thing is that they would stop billing you. But if they actually canceled it and said, okay, you're on the hook though, you're paying the rest of this. Yeah, and you're done. You're done. You're gonna still get billed, and that's the problem is that they keep keep billing you, but it's canceled. For most people, they stop using it anyways. So the point is moot. What do you care if it's canceled if you're not using it? True. But people don't have this understanding of you've sunk costs. This idea that people once you spend on something, the value of it is only worth if it gives you utility or whatever. Compare gym membership to a buffet. Buffet you pay $10 whether you eat nothing, you eat a fucking tomato, or you eat everything. What do people do? They eat everything. Yeah. They eat multiple plates. Why? Because they paid for it. Yeah. I got to eat the most utility. I got to maximize the utility. Even though usually the last plate you eat makes you sick as fuck. And you hate yourself. Yeah. But in the gym, you're paying for a Good Life. I can use this 24/7. Yeah. I can use as much as I want. What ends up happening? You end up using it nothing.
Nothing.
But the same, why? Well,
because it's hard. It's hard work, yeah.
So what if we like said, you know what, we're going to help you, and just so you don't waste your time, and because we care, we don't want to see like, you know, like whatever.
No, but then that's what I say, like too. It's just like I think that like I firmly believe too, like exercise is for everybody, and you know, but also at the same time is like that also helps you like sift through who's down and who's not. You know what I mean? Like I think at the same time too is like you can be a gym and you can be a trainer,
but it shows you care.
And you can show you care, but like you also can't be for everybody. You know, I don't think you can be, right? Especially because then that would say that too that would also say too that you know everything and you're well versed in everything, and that's just not the fucking reality.
Well, I mean, last thing I want to say, like for like we're done, is like I mean this idea of like just talking about these books and this and that. I mean, you get the idea of CrossFit, and I mean they basically create these moments, and that's why people once they go in there, they're really like, even despite it being maybe really really detrimental to their health, their injuries, you know, to their bodies. They stick it out because they create these moments. Every workout, there's like high five and they're getting support. They're getting, you know, they become a family. So they hit on all these things. You know, like they celebrate each other. They become friends outside of the gym. They're not just they don't just go to the gym and like they don't even know their name. They'll know their name.
It becomes like their identity.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So they're offering a little bit more. I'm just saying, you know, for perspective of like for most people, they're not going to like the gym. And I mean, if you can, you know, show them that there are a lot of human foibles that screw us when it comes to motivation. Like, and there's ways around them, but you have to think outside of the box. Like, you know, like, I got that idea for the membership of, there's, it was one of the books, I want to say it was called Nudge, might have been Nudge. And, they talked about, you know, doing, you know, putting your money where your mouth is. You're signing up for this weight loss challenge, and you basically, if you don't meet your goal, you sign a contract saying that if at the end of this you don't do what you say you're going to do, you're going to donate to like a terrible cause. So like you're a Jewish person, you are going to donate to the Chicago Nazi Party at the end of this. If you don't go to the gym 5 times a week, and this is what it is. So it was extreme like that. Yeah. And then you're gonna, and not only that, you're gonna publicize it. So you're signing up, and so all your Jewish friends are gonna see that you did this. So it's something you don't want to do, and it'll be embarrassing. It'll be like, it'll cause you like a lot of strife to actually fail. So you get super motivated because why? Because you don't want to fail.
You don't want to fail, no.
But you've put some, what do you call it, teeth in the game. You've put some skin in the game. Like most people don't. They go in and I'm going to work out and I'm going to meet these goals. Why? I don't know. I want to lose. It's right there. It's done. Yeah. You know what? Exactly.
Done. No, and that's why I say, like, I mean, like I told you before, like, I think that's why like competition is great, because that is it. Like,
you're putting skin in the game, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You've set yourself up. You've set a goal. You've set a timeline. You're good to go.
And you're fucking good to go. I think that's where we're gonna cut it here, because you're looking like you're ready to fucking.
I gotta go. I have a super motivated bride.
You gotta get your fucking Nappuccino, man. All right, until next time, boys and girls.
I don't train Oshma. She's getting married in March.
I don't know if that's off, bro.
Well, I can't be.